again. So, one of the things that I said about this channel and what I was doing from the very beginning a long time ago is that I wanted to be real honest and real vulnerable and just kind of take you on my journey with me. And so the last couple weeks I've been talking about the loss of a relationship and trying to like first I talked about the peace in the middle of the storm, and that's true. That doesn't change. And then I talked to you about learning to let people go, learning to let the leaves fall away when the season changes. And I talked about how if we're holding on to people, God can't move in our lives the way he wants to, because we become more dependent on people than we are on him. And all of that is true. But I also want to tell you and let you know that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy. There are going to be moments that this process, in any process, and it's not just letting people go, it's going through any process of growth is hard. And I'm not going to try and pretend that it isn't. I have struggled. I have cried, and I have cried out to Jesus in a desperate way. And it's okay to be desperate before Jesus, because we need him more than we need anything else. And I've been thinking a lot about how the situation I'm in is a result of my choices. Like I made some choices that put me in this situation of hurt and heartache. And it just kind of reminded me of a time when I was younger, and the first time I ever got drunk. My dad was a pastor of a church. I was 13 years old, and I somehow managed to convince my parents to let me go to a party that I shouldn't have been at. And there was all of these kids, and they were drinking, and of course, I wanted to fit in, right? I wanted to be accepted. So I joined in and started drinking, and I got drunk really quickly. My friends, they just walked me home, and they abandoned me on my porch. They disappeared. And I remember that even in my drunkenness, I was sitting there and formulating a plan of how I was going to get away with this. And so I walked in real quick, and I walked into my room. I turned my light off and jumped in bed real quick, hoping that no one would notice. But my mom did. So my mom came in, and she flips the light on, and it's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I convinced her that I just had a fight with my friends, and I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to go to sleep and forget about it, and then I would talk to her about it tomorrow. So she turned my light back off, and she walked out. But before she could even close the door all the way, I lost it, and I puked all over the floor. So, of course, my mom opens the door back up, and she's overwhelmed with the smell of alcohol. She didn't say a whole lot at the time. She just kind of looked at me, and she said, "I'm going to get your dad," which was the worst possible thing she could ever say. I was terrified of my dad, and I literally felt like my life passed before my eyes, and felt like I needed to call my friends and let them know I was never going to be able to see him again, that it was all over. So my dad came in, and I don't know, like, I was passing out, so in and out of consciousness and awareness. But I do remember that at one point I woke up, and my dad was on the side of my bed. He had a puke bowl near him, and he was feeding me crackers, like, as I woke up, and he could see that I was awake. He had some crackers in his hand to give to me, and he was just kind of rubbing my head and holding a puke bowl in case I got sick. That is not what I expected to see. I expected to be punished severely, and I deserved it. I deserved to be punished. I broke all the rules, and I lied many times in that situation, so I deserved to be punished. But this man who was supposed to punish me, and that I expected to be punished by, was instead trying to comfort me. He couldn't remove the consequences of the choices that I had made, but he could love me in spite of those choices. And he could love me and comfort me while I was in pain and hurting. And that is the perfect picture of our Father, our Heavenly Father. Sometimes miracles happen, right? And the consequences of our choices, our poor choices, are absolutely removed. But most of the time, when you make some choices, you have to live with the consequences. He's not going to take them away. But he will absolutely love you through them. And that is what I have been desperate for this week. It's been rough. I've cried a lot. My heart is broken. Truly, truly broken. But I have learned that there are moments in prayer where it's like you can't really even formulate a complete thought. It's this desperation prayer, this prayer that says, I am broken and I am in need and I don't know what to do with this heartache. But when we call on Jesus and we lay that heartache at his feet, he won't necessarily remove the consequences, but he absolutely will comfort us in the middle of our pain. So I don't ever want to leave some impression that I think, oh, letting people go or getting over this or moving through this, it's easy. It's just, give it all to God. No problems, no heartache. That's not true. But what is true is that even in the middle of your heartache, you can call out to Jesus and he will absolutely show up. He will absolutely love you while you deal with your hurt and your pain and your heartache. And he will love you until you get to the other side. Every season passes. Winter is ugly. Winter is hard. But soon comes spring. And with spring comes new life. Spring comes renewal. So even though you may be in pain for a season, Jesus will love you through it. He's the perfect picture of my dad sitting on the side of my bed, loving me and comforting me through a very difficult situation. And that's what our Heavenly Father does. So even in the middle of your heartache, don't stop crying out to him. Call on his name. He'll show up in the middle of your hurt, and he'll love you through it. I love you guys. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.